The first sign isn't darkness, it's desynchronization. A barely perceptible fluctuation ripples through the electrical grid as frequency drifts away from its stable baseline, and within seconds, automated protection systems begin isolating segments to prevent damage. What follows is not an instant blackout, but a fragmented collapse where pockets of power persist just long enough to create a false sense of control. Elevators stall between floors, water pressure drops as booster pumps lose consistency, and cellular networks degrade under unstable load. The danger is not immediate failure, but partial functionality that delays decisive action. Most people interpret flickering lights as a minor disruption, yet this transitional phase is when infrastructure becomes most unpredictable because systems are no longer synchronized but not yet fully offline. The analysis begins with grid architecture itself. Modern urban power systems operate on tightly balanced supply-demand equations, where even small deviations in frequency, typically around 50 or 60 Hz, trigger cascading protective responses. These safeguards are designed to protect turbines, transformers, and transmission lines, not human continuity. The misunderstanding lies in assuming redundancy equals resilience. In reality, redundancy buys time, not stability. When multiple nodes attempt to compensate simultaneously, they often amplify instability rather than suppress it. The hidden science is rooted in load-shedding algorithms and relay logic, which prioritize equipment survival over service continuity, leading to abrupt disconnections that appear random but follow strict electrical thresholds. Evidence from historical grid disturbances shows that cascading failures propagate faster than human reaction time. In documented blackouts, full regional collapse has occurred in under 90 seconds, with operators unable to manually intervene once automatic sequences begin. The survival implication is clear. Waiting for confirmation wastes the only window where mobility, communication, and resource access still function. As instability deepens, voltage irregularities damage sensitive electronics, refrigeration fails, and fuel distribution halts as electrically powered pumps shut down. The escalation is subtle but accelerating. What begins as inconvenience transitions into systemic paralysis. And as night approaches, the absence of artificial light compounds risk, not because darkness is dangerous, but because it conceals the operational state of everything around you, forcing decisions to be made without reliable feedback. The next phase is not total darkness, but signal collapse. As distribution grids fragment into isolated islands, frequency drift accelerates and synchronization becomes impossible to maintain across regions. Danger emerges when partial power persists in critical nodes while dependent systems silently fail in sequence. Analysis of this stage shows that communication infrastructure is often the first to degrade, not because it loses energy immediately, but because relay stations and routing hubs depend on stable upstream control signals that no longer exist. The misunderstanding is assuming that if a device still turns on, the system it belongs to is still functional. In reality, isolated energy availability masks systemic breakdown beneath it. The hidden science lies in cascading dependency chains. Water treatment plants rely on grid-stable pressure modulation, fuel terminals rely on electrically governed valves, and emergency services depend on synchronized dispatch networks. When even one layer destabilizes, downstream systems begin operating blind, executing commands without verification feedback. Evidence from prior large-scale outages shows that within minutes, manual override capacity becomes irrelevant because operators lose visibility faster than power itself disappears. Survival implications intensify here. Movement through urban environments becomes risk-prone not due to absence of electricity, but due to unpredictable reactivation and failure cycles occurring simultaneously across infrastructure nodes. Escalation occurs as battery-backed systems enter conservation mode. Street lighting may flicker unpredictably, traffic systems default to fail-safe states, and building access controls lock or unlock without centralized authority. Each of these behaviors is not random but algorithmic, designed to protect hardware integrity under uncertain load conditions. Yet for human navigation, this creates a shifting environment where every structure becomes temporarily unreliable. Transition into the next phase is marked by silence in mechanical systems. Pumps stop cycling, ventilation slows, and thermal regulation begins to drift, signaling that energy distribution has moved beyond recovery thresholds in localized zones.